Hello, my name is Aaron Buckley, and I'm currently in the TDEV 411 Section 1 class. Today I'll be talking about interactive whiteboards and student response systems. First question that comes to mind is, what is an interactive whiteboard? As defined by reference.com, as dictionary.com leads you only to the whiteboards themselves without the interactive. An interactive whiteboard is an interactive display screen that is connected to a computer and allows for viewing, input, and collaboration by multiple users. Essentially, it is a piece of technology that has an image projected on it which you can manipulate. An interactive whiteboard allows you to write real-time notes using specialized styluses, pens, or of course your finger, depending on the board. These notes can then be made on any sort of media, including pictures, existing text, slideshows, etc. Any media you can display, you can write on. Interactive whiteboards also, of course, allow for interactive lessons that allow students to manipulate objects on the board, as well as solve problems, brainstorms, and of course that's just a few examples. There are many ways, of course, you can get your students up involved and using this piece of technology. Some of the pros of interactive whiteboards are that, of course, the notes again are savable directly to the computer. This allows a teacher to take these notes and then upload them to the internet, so that way a student that was not able to make it to class is able to review the lesson, so that way they miss out on a little bit less. It also allows for them to be printed as well as displayed again for review, just for simple tests or quizzes or anything that you may need to do, or any other reason you may want to look into reviewing your notes. These boards also allow student interaction friendly, as they require no additional training or lessons to be able to use, at least as far as the students are concerned. All you have to do is be able to walk up to the board, pick up a stylus, and use the board, or again use your finger depending on the board as well. These boards also as well have a set of specialty lessons that are created by the board makers. There are also specialty lessons made by other teachers, as well as, of course, you can make your own. Just a matter of learning how to use the technology to its full advantage. There are also, of course, with these lessons, it gives the student, again, that ability to get up, to manipulate the board, and to be involved in their active learning. With these whiteboards, there are, of course, many different brands and variations. They range in price and functionality depending on what you need the board to do. There is definitely a board out there that can probably do it. What it comes down to is, of course, what you need them to do, as well as what you expect the students to be able to do. Some of them allow multi-touch features, two or more students at a time. Some of them only allow one student at a time, and some of them again require styluses or special markers to use, while others allow you to simply use your finger. These are some of these brands that are available: Promethean, Smart, Panasonic, Hitachi, Polyvision, Instruction, just of course to name a couple of them. Now, interactive whiteboards can be extremely supportive inside of the classroom environment. Firstly, of course, interactive whiteboards enable the students to be involved in their lessons as well as interact with the board directly. Some of the basic interactions include the audience response system or the student response system, which we're going to discuss here in a moment, as well as, of course, interactive games and activities that are specially made for use on the interactive whiteboards. These lessons and games and activities, again, can be downloaded directly from the manufacturer websites, as well as created on your own or created through other teachers. And then we come back to, again, the teacher guided notes, where the teacher is able to make notes real time on the image displayed on the board, and then save these notes for later use, again, either for review, or if a student is missed a day of class, they are able to go back and review those notes, so that way they miss out on less information. And then finally, of course, with any sort of projector computer combo, there is the ability to display any sort of media on the screen. The only difference between an interactive whiteboard and a regular whiteboard is that you are able to manipulate the image that it displays. Again, you can write those notes. If it's a picture, you can move it around. If it's a game, you can play it, etc., utilizing just the interactive whiteboard itself. Another feature, of course, of these whiteboards is that it allows you some extent of computer use using just the whiteboard. Essentially, you would use the whiteboard in the same way you would use a mouse, by simply tapping the image. Now, onto the student response systems. Student response systems are a device that's connected to the computer that receives response from a clicker. Here's a clicker that I've actually used in the past from Turning Technologies. There's another version of the same type of clicker on this pictured on the PowerPoint as well. These results that are gathered from the clickers are then displayable real time, and then can be utilized by the teacher in various different means. Now, these interactive lecture response systems allow the teacher to poll, to test or quiz, as well as, of course, to look at the opinions of the various students. But more importantly, it allows the students to be actively involved in their lesson by being able to respond to the teacher and having those responses recorded for the teacher's use later. Now, some of the pros of the student response system is that, again, you have those real-time results which are displayable. They can be displayed using any sort of projection system, as well as, of course, an interactive whiteboard. These displayable results allow the teacher to view the results of the children in real time, as well as, of course, he or she can then save those results to look at later. It does definitely increase the speed of grading for instances where there's a simple question that may be asked and then a question responded to, as well as, of course, it can help the teacher know where the students stand in the lesson. These clickers also and the systems also allow for tracking individual answers. Teachers can register the student's serial number on the back of the clickers to the device. That enables the device to display a name when that student uses their clicker. So if the student presses A, the system will log that they pressed A. And then another advantage of these response systems is that they break the monotony of standard lessons. Many instances you have a lecture going on where the teacher speaks and the students simply sit there and listen. There's no guarantees that the student is paying attention, as well as there's no guarantees that the student is retaining any of the information as well. By adding in the student response system, you can again change that lesson up, allow the students to respond, and give that teacher an understanding for where those students lie within that lesson. As with the interactive whiteboards, there are, of course, different various brands for these response systems. Again, Turning Technologies is simply one with the clicker that was displayed previously. There are various different clickers. Each system has their own, and some of them, of course, have different uses. Some of them have more buttons, less buttons. Some of them are able to do only multiple choice. Some do true false, and some allow for actual text to be responded. Those, of course, each one has a different price as well. The more complex, the more expensive generally. The student response systems also allow an extremely helpful level of classroom support. The largest impact that these systems can have is that they offer the real-time results that can enable a teacher to adjust a lesson or refocus that lesson if the students are having difficulty grasping a concept. As the students again respond utilizing their clickers, the teacher can gather those results, display them real time, and then adjust their lesson to ensure that their students are understanding that lesson. If majority of the class is failing to answer questions correctly, the teacher may be able to go back and adjust the lesson, either reteach it or just simply extend it out. Whereas if almost every student is gathering a concept a lot faster, then he or she is able to go back and shorten that lesson and move on to something that they may need more work on. Another, again, pro or way that this supports the classroom is that the students are now involved in their lessons. They're able to respond to their teacher's questions, and those responses are then tracked so that the students can learn where they're standing, as well as they can see where they're standing with their other classmates. And then, of course, it helps to reduce some of those redundancy as well. You get those students involved. They don't have to just listen. They can actually be involved. They can actually hold something tangible in their hands and make a response that the teacher will be able to see and track. Another advantage of these clickers is that they require little to no extra lessons required for use as far as the students are concerned. The teacher can simply hand them a clicker and let them know how to turn it on, and let them know what buttons to push at what time, and then of course give a couple examples, and then move on straight into the lesson. These systems don't really require any sort of extra lessons, as their functionality is minimal, and their buttons are again limited to usually ABC, true, false. So again, it keeps the additional teaching out of the classroom as far as this piece of equipment is concerned, enabling the teacher to focus more on the lessons and less on learning new equipment. The student response systems and the interactive whiteboards enable the classroom to not only operate utilizing technology, but allow for students to be involved in their lesson. You can utilize the whiteboards to manipulate a lesson, or a clicker to log a response, and that can allow the students to do something other than just sit there and simply listen to the teacher. Now, these two pieces of technology can be used separately as well as they can be used together. You can utilize the interactive whiteboards here to display the images or display the data from the student response system, which can then of course be manipulated into various different forms of graphs, etc. As well as of course you can utilize these pieces of equipment separately. You do not need an interactive whiteboard to utilize the student response system, and vice versa. Each one does require its own technology to use, so in order to use one you do have to have the appropriate technology. So of course that can definitely get kind of expensive as far as gathering all this technology together is concerned, but it's definitely something that can be used separately or together depending on your lesson. Now of course the student response system allows the teacher to also save time as well, and therefore allows that teacher to spend more time preparing that lesson and more time teaching that lesson, rather than spending all his or her time grading lessons, grading worksheets, grading tests, which enables the teacher to be more focused on utilizing this technology to its fullest extent and its fullest advantages, which helps get those students involved as well. Many times you have a teacher who's going to focus on a lesson, hand out a worksheet, and then spend a lot of times grading that worksheet, therefore losing out on some valuable learning time for those students. Utilizing both of these systems can again save that teacher time, and she'll be able to utilize the same lesson multiple times by simply just adjusting old information as necessary. And then the student response system allows her to save some time grading, as everything is laid out for you. You just simply have to go back and see which students answered which questions, and then you're done. It's all saved to a computer already. Thank you again for joining me here while we discuss student response systems and interactive whiteboards.